What is up, everybody? Welcome back to my Let's Play of Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin. My name is Rob. Last time we finished up No Man's Wharf, and today we're going to move on to a new area. Huntsman's Copse. One of my favorite areas atmospherically in the game. So you come down here like you're going to head to Hade's Tower of Flame. If you already talked to Lycia and got her to move this thing around for you for 2,000 souls, you can go the left path down here, down a dark and spooky cave. Yeah, everything seems darker in the Scholar of the First Sin edition, like they definitely adjusted the lighting. I don't remember everything being quite as dark, but I mean, it at least makes sense. I mean, there's not any light to speak of getting in here. You would expect it to be dark. So coming up here we meet another NPC that's not really going to interact with us much for the time being. But we need to keep him in mind because eventually he's going to be interacting with us with him.
I don't know who you are, but leave me be. The frailty of the weak disrupts the dark. Leave me alone. I'm interested in one thing, dog. You haven't the gift.
Well, I'll get the gift. Just you wait. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that NPC, I'm not sure of his name either. I think he's voiced by the same guy that does Laurentius of the Great Swamp in Dark Souls 1. The two sound the same. But anyway, get to the first bonfire here, smash some crates, and just look out at all this. Like, every time I play the game, I always like to look out at this area, just the forest reaching out as far as you can see. Those birds in the distance, hovering over something. Makes me wonder if the pursuer's not out there somewhere. So, right as I'm just getting started with the level, I get invaded. Doesn't happen that often when I'm playing Dark Souls 2. But I haven't played all that far into the game just yet, so I mean, there's liable to be some spot that a lot of people like to invade. Like, I never beat Dark Souls 3, but there's definitely a couple of places that I've discovered people still love invading there. There's one place in particular, I think, further into Irithyll. Get invaded a lot there. I don't know, it may not be Irithyll. It's been so long since I've actually picked up Dark Souls 3 and played it, but hey, eventually I'm going to do a Let's Play of that as well. So I'll have no choice but to finish it. Well, I guess I'll have a choice, but, you know, for the few people that like to watch this, I would really like to finish it. So I'm thinking of a gesture to do to greet this guy, but he just comes running in like he thinks he's Ouroboros or something with his falchion and Elite Knight helm. They keep spamming emit force for some reason. Honestly, don't think he meant to do it there because I already tapped him a couple times with the club and it did some good damage. So, got a nice roll backstab on him and finished that off pretty quick. I'll tell you this much, he didn't try to invade me again. I don't know, maybe he tried, but he didn't successfully invade me again. Whoever he was. Some random guy. Which, I mean, who knows? He might actually be a really good PvPer and was just trying out a new build or something, and I don't know. All I know is I whopped him good. GG anyway, whoever you are. Got a Torch Hollow. I don't think they typically get aggressive in Dark Souls 2, but just from everything I went through with Torch Hollows in Dark Souls 1, they can never be trusted. Like, ever. They're like a kill-on-sight enemy for me. So here we go out into the main area of Huntsman's Copse. This particular building here, this structure, if I'm not mistaken, is based on some old hotel in France or something like that. I'm not sure. It's based on something in real life. I don't know what exactly, but the architecture and everything is cool. It's not cool that I walked in and got hit with a poison arrow, but, you know, it happens. Silly me. You can't lock on to enemies in the dark. You know that, Rob. Come on. So if you head straight over here, get to club a zombie that wants to get up and grab your throat. But if you hit that door, by gum, that dude there just does not approve. And neither does he. I guess he's like the building's security force or something. These two and like poison arrow guy. That door was very special to them. They did not appreciate me hitting it with a club, so the sensible thing to do was to charge through it in an attempt to kill me. I mean, I'm sure it made perfect sense at the time. So in contrast to No Man's Wharf, Huntsman's Copse is a smaller area, at least as far as like just the footwork you have to do. I don't know about actual size or anything, but it definitely feels like a smaller area. And a big part of that is because No Man's Wharf has one bonfire. Huntsman's Copse has 3. Like, I mean, I don't get it. That's just... I'm not complaining, but it's just very inconsistent level design. And honestly, if anything, I feel like No Man's Wharf could have used a second bonfire somewhere in the level. And see, we already got a shortcut to our second bonfire. Hey, I'm not complaining that it's here. It just, like, after doing No Man's Wharf, it's kind of like, huh? I don't know. I tend to compare the two areas because, honestly, I like both of the areas a lot, so... for different reasons. Huntsman's Copse, to me, is a lot easier, for one thing. And I always like forested areas in video games, especially if they're, like, kind of dark and creepy. Spooky, kind of. I like that sort of thing. I like that atmosphere. And once we get to Bloodborne, that's going to be a fun Let's Play. Here lately, you know, with especially being quarantined and everything, with all the COVID-19 stuff going on, Bloodborne just seems like a really appropriate game to be playing. And I'm kind of pre-playing it to get more of a feel for it again since it's been so long. And to try and learn where everything's at. I'm running an Arcane build right now, which so far I think Arcane might be easy mode for that game. Because, whoo-wee. It takes a little preliminary... well, I don't know. There's probably more efficient ways to do it than what I've been doing, but it took a little farming. A little bit. But once you get the proper gems and everything in place, man, Arcane just does some nasty damage. Like, I'm not even using the hunter tools yet. I'm just strictly using like a fire reinforced saw spear. And man, it just tears everything up. What was I talking about Bloodborne? I made it to the Forbidden Woods on the particular character I'm playing right now. And it immediately made me think of Huntsman's Copse. And I was like, man, I just really like this area too. It's like a bigger, way more dangerous Huntsman's Copse. I just like areas like this in all video games, I guess, so. Anyway, back to Dark Souls 2. We cleared out this little area. That stone slab that looks like it could be a door is a door, but we can't open it from that side. So after clearing out the inside of this building, we're going to head on to the roof. And we're met with the roof security force. Clubman and dual knives. And he likes to practice gymnastics on my head. Earlier I switched to the Explorer's hat once again to increase my luck, so that hopefully I can get a few pieces of the rogue gear that these enemies drop. I like how that set looks. There's a bad enemy right there, but we can't do anything about him right now, so gonna have to drop. Get some nice items here and there. There's no ladder here to kick down, unfortunately. You just have to drop and take the fall damage that Dark Souls 2 is so generous about dealing out. That's another immediate difference I've noticed between Bloodborne and Dark Souls 2. Bloodborne is way more generous with stamina, for one thing. Which, I mean, the game is kind of built around fighting really aggressively, so it makes sense, you know. I'm not saying one's better than the other. It's just, you know, how the games contrast. And another thing, Dark Souls 2, man, fall damage ain't no joke. I mean, you fall and it's like you break your legs and die. And then there's like distances you can fall in Bloodborne that'll only take like a small portion of your health, and I'm just like, wow. Like if I had made that fall in Dark Souls 2, it would have like just completely deleted my file off the game. I would have died so hard. To get past that building, from that second bonfire you got easy access to the rest of the level, which is a few hollows here and there. That dirty little torch hollow trying to touch me with his torch. What an a-hole. Got this guy hiding out by a tree, trying to be sneaky. Man, this area. Like even doing post commentary and just looking at all the views and stuff, I just love it. So we meet a new enemy. I have no idea what it's called. It's the sickle wielding hunchback. He likes to shove his sickles in the ground and get clubbed to death. And that green powder pollen looking stuff is coming from these giant moths that like to attach themselves to trees. Give them a shot with any ranged weapon you got, and they'll fall right down and give you some poison moss usually. Torch Hollow, go away. Nobody likes you. Like, if I were Michael Scott from The Office, Torch Hollows would most definitely be Toby. There's another one up here. I didn't see him at the time. Oh, then I saw him. I was just getting ready to shoot him when you get invaded by an NPC invader. It turns out to be a much bigger problem than the the other invader was at the beginning of the level. This is Forlorn. I can't remember if he is in the original version of Dark Souls 2 or not, but he is an intelligent invader, despite being backstabbed right there. He's got a lot of iframes when he dodges, and it's almost like at times it seems like he can read your inputs. Like, I don't know for sure if the AI for Dark Spirits can or not, but they definitely act like they can. I'm just kind of derping about here. He'll definitely try to shield bash you if you hold your shield up too much. He deals good damage. He's got the great sword. So here I am trying to heal, and he does a jump attack, and wham. Totally owned. Yeah, no joke. This Blue Invader gave me some trouble. But we're going to supersonic speed now to get back to where I was. I don't know, I'm trying to remember if that NPC gave me trouble on my other file or not. I can't remember. Probably not. On my other character I have a lot more adaptability, and I'm pretty much strictly leveling dex. Thinking about leveling up some strength though, because as much as I love the dex weapons, the rapier is just so good in this game. It's honestly better than it should be. But as much as I like it, as much as I like the falchion and, you know, I mean, yeah, there's katanas. Katanas have never really been my favorite weapon in Souls games. It's just me. But I also really like the quality weapons like the claymore, stuff like that. And I think I want to be able to use the claymore. My very first playthrough of Dark Souls 2, claymore was my bread and butter. Like first I got the bastard sword, and then when I was able to get the claymore, I used it for the majority of the game. Claymore and the Zweihander. I really like the Zweihander in this game as well. Which oddly enough, I didn't use the greatsword. Looking back, I probably should have, because eventually, you know, I started as like just a mundane 20 in every stat build, and eventually just respec to be a pure strength build. So yeah, the dramatic slowdown for finishing off Forlorn. I was kind of aggravated about that, but hey, it happens. At least he doesn't invade again. So now I'm free to explore the rest of this area. Excuse me while I recline my feet up. Got another one of these hunchback looking dudes who's looking over some item. What is this? Aromatic ooze. I think that's what it said. I'm far away from the screen right now. He was captivated by it, but had no idea what it was used for. Torch hollow dropped a torch, imagine that. So yeah, this brings me to just a thought about Dark Souls 2 and some of its game design. Need to hold that thought. One of the new shades, Bashful Ray, it's like this ninja assassin guy with a really strong pyro. I like to summon the shades not because I feel like I need them, but I just like to see what they'll do. And a couple of humorous things end up happening over while I'm playing with him. But anyway, just the odd design philosophy behind some of the stuff in Dark Souls 2 is like item placement. Like, I ended up getting it off camera, but the placement of Ricard's rapier in this level, it makes no sense. It's in a chest at the bottom of a pit, being guarded by like one of those giant curse frog things. And it's like, why is it there? The same thing like Soul Spear is just randomly laying around in Huntsman's Copse. Like, I don't really understand why. Soul Spear in Dark Souls 1, you know, that was like one of the higher end sorceries. It's like, oh, you could only get that from Big Hat Logan, who was the creator of it. And, you know, I understand Big Hat Logan's, you know, dead by now. Obviously, if you finish his questline in Dark Souls 2, in Dark Souls 1, he's definitely dead, but yeah. It would make more sense if it were in an area that was more like, I don't know, sorcerer-y-ish. I don't know. All I'm saying is it's just kind of weird that sorcery's just laying around. Also weird that another one of these knights is just laying around too. And Bashful Ray, he ain't playing with this guy. He's like casting Flame Swathe, and when that doesn't do it, he's like, you know what, I'm just gonna spam Firestorm. Yeah, he spams Firestorm. Look at that. Cast it really quickly twice in a row. I mean, dang, Ray, do you think that was enough? Overkill much? Yeah, there it is. Soul Spear is just in a random cell. I mean, I think about the lore behind Huntsman's Copse. You know, this is where the King Vendrick, I believe, which I haven't really talked about him. He's way later in the game. But he's kind of like the main not antagonist. I don't know what to describe. I'm not good at explaining the lore, but anyway, he was the king of Drangleic, basically, the king over all of it. And of course, you know, the undead were like in Dark Souls 1, they were kind of feared and all this other stuff. You know, in Dark Souls 1, they were sent away to asylums and stuff. Same sort of thing was going on during the time of Dark Souls 2. But furthermore, they conducted like undead hunts. Like they would round them up and hunt them for sport. Like just barbaric torture of these, you know, people whose it wasn't their fault they received the undead curse. I mean, it was just a symptom of the world you live in, I guess. So that's kind of, you know, that's what Huntsman's Copse is all about. So maybe some undead mage who had studied Logan's sorceries ended up dying in that cell somehow? That's a little anticlimactic. And there's that really fast undead zombie just running around, and Bashful Ray's gonna try to catch him. That was kind of funny looking at the time. And he's all like, "Hey, no, wait for me." So yeah, I'm not sure why Dark Souls 2 places items the way it does, but hey, whatever, I guess. It just, I don't know, it kind of feels like sometimes the developers place things just almost kind of at random, like just, let's put this here just to put it here. You know, whereas in Dark Souls 1, you know, every little item placement and everything has some kind of significance to it. Like, everything you find is like, oh, this is here for a reason. Yeah, Bashful Ray was so excited to go attack that skeleton until he saw I wasn't right behind him, so he ran back, and then the skeleton came back and he hit us both. That's kind of comical. Cursed Urns. I don't know if I've come across those in the Let's Play yet. I don't think I have. But those are new to Dark Souls 2. And keep in mind, when I critique Dark Souls 2 design philosophies, I'm not like just crapping on it or anything, you know. I don't dislike Dark Souls 2. It's just way different from the other Souls games, obviously, because it had a different developer. So, I mean, it makes sense for things to be different. Like, I get all that. It's just a lot of the differences, or a lot of the contrasts, I guess. It's just interesting looking at somebody else's take on the series, I guess. And when you hear about Dark Souls 2's like troubled development cycle and everything, it makes sense why it turned out the way it did. It's a very ambitious title, but they ended up trying to do too much with it and lost a lot of money, had to downgrade it a lot. But what they ended up with, I think, is still a really good product. A bit quirky and weird at times, and you can definitely tell that, you know, Miyazaki wasn't sitting there designing it himself. I mean, apparently, you know, according to what I've read and heard about it, he was overseeing it to a degree. He just wasn't directly in the development process. But still, you know, I just kind of like to see the game for what it is. But it's hard not to sit there and compare it to the other Soulsborne games, because it is part of the same series. But a lot of people just think it's like one of the worst games ever, and I'm like, really? I don't know, man. I think Kid Cool for the NES is one of the worst games ever. Got a magic mace, in case you want a mace that does magic damage. As much as I miss the ragdoll physics from Dark Souls 1, the little silly things like that from the corpses of your enemies is still kind of entertaining to look at. Yeah, so I derped around for a few minutes and couldn't figure out how to get out of that cave because, I don't know. I tell people like I've never even done drugs. My brain is just like that. So, about to cut it here because the video is getting kind of not terribly long. I have a couple of videos in the Let's Play that are like almost an hour long, and I've really tried hard to avoid that. So I'm about to go back to the third bonfire, which I can't access just yet because I don't have the key. But I'm going to cut the video there, just to keep things from getting too long, and I'm going to continue here in a minute. Well, a minute for me. I don't know, this may come out days later for you. But anyway, as always, thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you soon with more Dark Souls 2, and until then, be safe, be well, and take care.